Let's open up. SV Ramani of the Congress. Pavan, thank you. SV Ramani of the Congress, Ashwini Shahi of the BJP, Dr. Shruti Kapila. Let's get first comments. Manu is back with us. SV Ramani, disappointed? The BJP has taken 3 or 4 states. We're calling it now. We were waiting for Chhattisgarh, but it looks pretty much certain that the BJP is going to form the government unless there's some last moment sort of surprise that we can't anticipate. Telangana is yours. It's a big win, but you have been wiped out, so to speak, in the Hindi-speaking heartland. Mr. Ramani, your thoughts?
Disappointing to some extent because even I have a lot of respect for Pavan, but I still believe that the elections were fought by us in a very competitive manner in all the 3 states. And as far as organization is concerned, in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh, we have had a wonderful organization, even at the grassroots level. So I don't think that that's the reason for our defeat or would-be defeat there. But it is really surprising because in Rajasthan, we have done, the government of Ashok Gehlot was very much acclaimed as one of the people's government. Some of the policies which they have brought, some of the schemes which he has brought in, and also some of the guarantees which we have projected at the time of elections, they were well received by the people. And also, people may say that there was a misunderstanding between him and Mr. Sachin Pilot, but that was a thing in the past because last 1 year, they have worked very well together. They have gelled very well together, and the entire team worked together. So it is a surprise for us that we lost Rajasthan. Similarly, in Chhattisgarh, some of the schemes of the chief minister have reached even to the downtrodden. Almost 100% of the people, the schemes have reached. The farmers have benefited. The poor people have benefited. The women have benefited. There was a overall.
But do you see a north-south? Do you see
a consensus?
Okay, sorry, I'm saying there are many questions for you, including whether there's a north-south divide in Indian politics. But Karthik, 30 seconds to you before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your birthday. Manu Sharma is here to take us through the remaining numbers. Karthik, quick last word. And Sriram, I'm coming to everybody one by one. Quickly, Karthik.
I think this is a victory. The BJP has swept the Hindi heartland. But I don't think we can discount the local leadership factor. Organization, definitely the BJP is ahead. We have no doubts about it. But I will stick my neck out that the BJP has done well state after state elections where the central leadership's charisma has been complemented by the credibility of a strong state leadership. And that's where you see the difference in Madhya Pradesh.
How does that apply? How does that apply in these states where no chief ministerial candidate was declared?
That's exactly the point I'm trying to drive home for the last couple of hours, Barkha, that let's put things into perspective. The Rajasthan victory is a victory. The Madhya Pradesh victory is a sweep. There is a difference, and the difference is caused by the fact that the Rajasthan narrative and the campaign were very scattered. The Rajasthan campaign was fought against a government which essentially did not work for the first 3-4 years. But in the last 1 year, it gained enough ground to give the BJP a tough fight. But look at Madhya Pradesh, where you had such strong anti-incumbency, and in the last 3-4 months, a chief minister swings it around with 157 seats out of 230. So I'm saying that local leadership's role, whether the BJP or the Congress, cannot be discounted. But the Congress's victory in Telangana should give its hope. Its fight in Rajasthan should give its hope. Man of the match for me today is Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
I think we all agree. I think we probably all agree on that. And Revant Reddy would possibly, for Congress supporters, come up close second. And even objectively, I think those are the two big heroes of today. Sriram on his phone. So let me get Ashwini Shahi and Dr. Kapila in. Ashwini ji, एक बीजेपी प्रवक्ता होने के नाते बड़ी जीत है बीजेपी के लिए, खास करके नॉर्थ इंडिया में. इसको आप किस रूप से देखेंगे? क्योंकि बार बार ये सवाल उठाया जा रहा है कि इन तीनों ही प्रदेशों में बीजेपी ने एक सीएम कैंडिडेट, एक सीएम फेस नहीं डिक्लेयर किया, फिर भी जीत हुई.
बरखा जी, ये जीत माननीय मोदी जी की उन गारंटियों की है जिन पर पूरा देश विश्वास करता है. विश्व के सबसे लोकप्रिय नेता की गारंटी है और उस पर जनता ने भरोसा किया है. ये जीत हमारे अर्ध पन्ना प्रमुखों की है जिन्होंने दमखम लगा दिया, चाहे वो छत्तीसगढ़ हो, चाहे मध्य प्रदेश हो, चाहे राजस्थान हो. ये हार उस जादूगर की है जो अपने जादू पर भरोसा कर रहा था, वो छूमंतर हो गया. ये हार उस गोबर घोटाले वाले मुख्यमंत्री का है जो गोबर 229 करोड़ का खा गया. ये हार उस नकली हिंदू कमलनाथ का है कि जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के 2014 के सरकार आने के बाद एक हिंदू बनने का नाटक कर रहे थे, और कांग्रेसियों ने तो किताब में लिख दिया बोको हरम और पता नहीं किससे तुलना कर दी। ये जनता की जीत है, और माननीय मोदी जी का चेहरा किसी से कम है क्या? बरखा जी, आप कह रही हैं कि प्रदेश में नेतृत्व, अब विधायक दल की बैठक होगी, उसमें नेता चुना जाएगा, नेता चुनने के बाद संसदीय बोर्ड जिस पर मोहर लगाएगा वो मुख्यमंत्री होगा। लेकिन उस मुख्यमंत्री के बारे में सोचिए जो अपने अहंकार में हार गया। एक तो केंद्रीय नेतृत्व कांग्रेस का अहंकार में, दूसरा अशोक गहलोत जी की कांग्रेस अहंकार में लड़ गए लोग, उस मर्दों का प्रदेश वाले को टिकट दे दिया। बलात्कार होते रहेंगे तो जनता, आधी महिलाएं, आधी आबादी है, उन्होंने अपने वोट के अधिकार से बता दिया।
आपने मोदी जी को आपने क्रेडिट दिया, ठीक बात है, लेकिन आपने शिवराज जी, जिसको हम सब मैन ऑफ द मैच कह रहे हैं, उनको क्रेडिट क्यों नहीं दिया? रमन सिंह को
मेरी बात अभी पूरी नहीं हुई थी बरखा जी। मैं सबके बारे में कह रहा हूं। लाडली बहना योजना, शिवराज जी की, अब लखपति बहना की बात कर रहे हैं वो, शिवराज जी की योजनाओं को आधी आबादी की मैंने बात शुरू किया था, उसमें अधूरे रह जाएंगे शिवराज जी अगर उनकी बात नहीं होगी। उन्होंने अपने पूरे प्रदेश के वो मामा हैं, महिलाओं ने किस तरीके से बढ़ चढ़कर हाथ में लिया उनको, और किसके लिए? भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने आधी आबादी के लिए काम किया है। चाहे हम जो है नारी बंधन अधिनियम की हम बात करें और चाहे लाडली बहना की बात करें, हमने ही उनको देखा है। तो आज ये जीत जो है हर उस कार्यकर्ता की है, हर उस नेता की है, हर उस नेतृत्व क्या है जिसके बारे में ये अभी कुछ दिन पहले, क्या 2 दिन पहले, 4 दिन पहले तक ये कह रहे थे लोग कि कांग्रेस कांग्रेस कांग्रेस। कांग्रेस खत्म है। इस जो मोहब्बत की दुकान खोले थे वहां से वो भारत तोड़ो यात्रा में वो नफरत की दुकान में बदलकर बंद हो गई वो दुकान, और जनता उस दुकान को खोलने नहीं देना चाहती है, चाहे कन्हैया दर्जी की हत्या हो, चाहे वो वहां गोबर घोटाला हो।
लेकिन तेलंगाना की जीत भी, आती हूँ आपके पास वापस, डॉक्टर कपिला, इफ यू वांट टू कम इन, एंड Sriram, if we can add Sriram back, I really want to talk a little bit about Telangana also. Dr. Kapila, do you now see a very clear, I know I think it was Aarti who said I don't want to get into the north-south divide, but is there something taking shape in that form? Because Yogendra Yadav, who's a supporter of Rahul Gandhi, he earlier on this program was saying that the Congress must introspect how it fails to take winnable elections and why it can't convert winnable elections into victories. Your take, Shruti.
Indra Yadav.
Sorry, Shruti, I can't hear you. I'm so sorry. Just start all over again, please. Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to ignore because I haven't heard what Yadav said. But I actually think I'll be with Aarti Jairath, and I'd like to kind of keep my powder dry on the north and south division that appears to be to have taken place. I actually think that regardless of this, the problem remains, or the issue remains in India, that you're going to have a one dominant party and very other smaller parties in contention. This was the Congress story for 40-50 years. With the BJP, you're getting a party state. I have argued that it's not simply a party, but it's a party state. Now, this poses a real identity crisis for the Congress because it is a national party. It is not a regional party, and that is why it is doing extremely well in fighting regional parties. And now the question comes, what is going to happen to the alliance? I have always said that actually the alliance is a contradiction because it actually is a fight between the Congress and regional parties for actually Congress's remaking. Because wherever we have seen in the North, certainly head-to-head BJP and the Congress, that is not a winning battle for the Congress just yet. And it's not simply about welfarism. It has a lot to do with what has happened with 30 years of Hindu nationalism, which is now seeped in. It is part of the DNA of the Indian politics.
Why did you, when you call the BJP a party state, what does that do to the idea of alliances or the India alliance?
I mean, I actually don't believe in that alliance. I mean, I have not believed it from the get-go. It is a great name.
Tell us why. Tell us why.
Precisely because the nature of political competition is that if you look at the deep structure of as it were party formations and movement in India, you have dominant parties and federalist regional parties. Those regional parties today have saturated. They are going through a generational shift. They are also going through, as it were, crisis of their own. They have actually all saturated all OBC parties. And to that extent, Rahul Gandhi saying, as it were, caste census required is also moving into that turf because that is the obvious thing to do. Now, that actually poses a problem because your alliance is really the Congress plus these smaller parties. When you're actually in real competition with them, and for the Congress, it actually succeeds against the smaller parties. So what is it going to do now in Uttar Pradesh? Is it actually going to take on the SP over the long term? Or is it going to be in an alliance? Same with RJD, same with other places. But I actually do think that India it's not a north-south divide, because in the south too, as I said, there are other smaller parties, the DMK, the CPM. So it's not going to be easy for the Congress to actually prevail there in 2024 either.
What's interesting, Shruti, is even as you say this, the Congress has called for an India Alliance meeting, in the next couple of days. Sriram is wanting to respond to what you said. Also, the pictures you see on your screen are perhaps the only state where the Congress can celebrate. Telangana, Revanth Reddy taking out a roadshow there. Sriram, you've heard a lot. North-South divide, local factors. Was it anti-incumbency? And I'm coming to Aarti right after that. Sriram, go ahead.
I believe there is a very strong north-south divide. I am the only panelist here from South, and you're not letting me speak at all.
I'm so sorry. Punjabi bias. Go ahead, Sriram. Yeah.
जो व्यक्ति गुड़गांव में बैठता है वो तेलंगाना के बारे में जानता है, लेकिन मैं हैदराबाद में हूँ, मुझे छत्तीसगढ़ के बारे में मालूम नहीं है. मैं बिलासपुर से, रायपुर से, भिलाई से, राजनांदगांव का एग्जैक्ट डिस्टेंस बतला सकता हूँ. मैं बिलासपुर में पैदा हुआ हूँ, मैं मध्य प्रदेश में पढ़ा हूँ.
आप बोलिए प्लीज
इसलिए नहीं दूंगी क्योंकि मैं दक्षिण भारतीय हूँ, मुझे हिंदी नहीं आता है.
चलो श्रीराम बताइए.
नहीं, मगर मैं ये जरूर बताना चाहता हूँ, ये जब मैं पिछले 30 दिन मेरा फोकस बहुत ओके, रिवर्ट टू इंग्लिश. Barkha, my point was this. In the last 45 days, I was watching debate. I did not want to get on any debate, but in our office, we were doing exit polls, and I wrote all the 3 North Indian states for BJP, and somebody thought I'm out of my mind, and they said, why? And I said, have you realized the shadow of January 22nd is already fallen from Ayodhya right down to the south of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh? No, the whole debate and entire media never said Ram temple is there. Jan 22nd, we begin to see images, and nobody talked as if it's an issue or a sub-thought at all. And I believe that was playing a factor in these as much as many others. We are already in that kind of thing, but it missed everybody. But let me, since I'm the provincial expert, go back to my subject of Telangana. As I predicted on your TV channel, Barkha, you'll be very happy to know, no journalist on television on any national channel from Hyderabad said anything except BRS was winning. You are the only channel to get it right. And not surprisingly at all, I'm pretty sure by the final count, the margin of Congress will become bigger, because the vote shares I'm seeing on different channels or whatever, my own estimate is it'll be far bigger. The fact
that we look at the Telangana vote share, I just want to bring up the slide.
And MIM is down to 3 or 4. MIM is losing minimum 3 seats. They're going up and down, up and down, up and down rapidly. But my point is, even if they win all, let's say 6 out of 7, the fact is MIM has been jolted out of stupor and overconfidence. BRS has been defeated. You said it was strong words when I said more than the campaign of Congress. Yes, Congress did nothing wrong, but the people of the state well and truly wanted to kick out this government. And I'm saying it again, this is the resolve of the people. Congress merely aligned to it well. And yes, I go by the dictate of the wisdom of Napoleon, that I am not scared of an army of lions led by a sheep, but I am scared of an army of sheep led by one lion. Revanth Reddy is the single reason why I believed the only 2 people who could have defeated KCR, one was Bandi Sanjay, one was Revanth Reddy. Thankfully for Congress, BJP eliminated.
BJP replaced Bandi Sanjay. Aarti, you wanted to come in. Sriram, don't go away. You'll go away.
I'm going out. I'll take my whole team for lunch. I'll be back.
Okay, go and eat lunch. Go get. But you went. We didn't send you off before we were accused of North Indian bias. Aarti, go ahead. Aarti, go ahead.
Barkha, I think one thing is becoming increasingly clear, and these assembly results really prove it, which is, I think, why all of us, all the exit polls and everything went so wrong. The Congress roots in the North are decaying. they have more or less died in UP. They have more or less died in Bihar. Now you're seeing Madhya Pradesh also, the fact that the Congress has not been able to win this state for the last 4 or 5 terms. It won briefly 5 years ago, but, it was snatched away from them. So the Congress roots are decaying in the north. Even in Rajasthan, it had Ashok Gehlot, it won. But if you remember, Ashok Gehlot's victory last time, 5 years ago, was a bare victory. He did not win a full-scale majority. He had to form his government with the help of independents. So, the organizationally, what Pavan was talking about, the organization, the roots of the Congress in North India are decaying, in some places already dead. In the South, on the other hand, and I think, again, this is being proved by recent assembly elections, the Congress still has roots. Maybe dormant, like in Telangana, they've been dormant. But if the people decide that they want to kick out an incumbent government because they are fed up, the default option becomes a Congress, because a Congress is still there. The BJP has not been able to shed its image of a North Indian Hindu party, and I think the South is still not ready to accept the BJP. And that is why the Congress still survives there.
I just wanted to ask you how we understand Chhattisgarh, where the chief minister was widely perceived to be a kind of effective incumbent, an efficient, effective.
So again, this is where we talk about the organization, the election management. The BJP has been working, and the BJP is very lucky that it has in the RSS backroom, kind of a backroom boy or a backroom organization that is continuously working for them, amongst the tribals, amongst the scheduled castes, amongst Hindus. It is continuously working. I think they got a jolt last time when they lost all these 3 states, and they have been working. That they've been doing a sustained outreach amongst tribals. They have managed to create a polarization between the Christian Adivasis and the non-Christian Adivasis, which has worked to their advantage. You saw in Bastar this time, the BJP has actually gained a number of seats, which I think is given them that boost in Chhattisgarh. And also in Madhya Pradesh. So, the fact is that the Congress, the Congress depends on a Hava. Hava came their way in Telangana, they sat on it and they rode it. In the north, the Hava, there is no Hava for the Congress, because where is the Congress in the north? Do we see it? It's not even alive.
Okay,
and, let me Gehlot thought that his welfare schemes would get him votes. But I think one thing, and this is the great thing for Indian democracy, because this was supposed to be a fight of welfare schemes versus welfare schemes, right? People did not this time. I don't think welfare schemes influenced their decisions. They went for something more than welfare schemes. And yes, I think the Hindutva narrative of the BJPs has taken root in the north, and it is only going to grow stronger as the parliamentary polls.
And yet, what Ashwini Shahi called the Nakli Hindu, where leaders, Manu, you can back this up. Karthik was making the point that the Congress's strike rate in Rajasthan has been better than the Congress's strike rate in Madhya Pradesh. So where Kamal Nath was, seen to be this very astute Sharad Pawar-esque, practicing Hindu. He even Rajiv Gandhi was the first one to unlock, Ayodhya. Actually, the strike rate has been much worse. This sort of soft Hindutva, imitative Hindutva has not worked for the Congress, seemingly. Manu Sharma?
I have a slightly different take here. If it were not for Kamal Nath, Congress would have fared even worse in Madhya Pradesh. And the reason for that is that one has to understand the underpinnings of a state that is going to the polls. I've said this before. If Gujarat is the Mount Everest of saffron politics, Madhya Pradesh is K2. It's the Godwin Austen. It's the second tallest. You have a 4-term government heading into the polls, and yet not only were they, in the reckoning, they've swept the election. So there is something going on at the organizational level, and also there is something to tell about the electorate. So just as, analysts proudly say, okay, in Kerala, BJP will find it hard to, expand with its brand of politics. I believe anybody who takes a far, left of center plank in Madhya Pradesh will find it equally hard. It's just
but
how
Kamal
the
Nath
states
didn't do
are.
that. But Kamal Nath did not
He
do
didn't
that.
do that. He didn't do that because, even to be competitive in the state, he had to have the plank that he, was riding on. If he would have chosen something different, it would have been even worse. Now, coming to Rajasthan, what happened in Rajasthan? Rajasthan, the politics is about a lot of personalities. And Congress actually was helped by a very strong dissenting group within the BJP. And there were also factions within the Congress itself. So the political scenario in Rajasthan was one of divisions, and ultimately which party was more divided. It was all about that. And in Madhya Pradesh, it was actually about Kamal Nath versus the organizational might of the BJP and its extended parivar. So it was an uphill battle. And with Mahakaushal and Chambal underperforming, that was his only realistic route to win. And Chambal was taken away by Jyotiraditya Scindia. So he was fighting an uphill battle anyway.
Okay, so those are, by the way, pictures coming from the one celebration of the Congress. That's Revanth Reddy in Telangana. Of course, we're going to see big celebrations break out in the 3 BJP states. But Manu makes a very interesting point that while everyone's lashing out at Kamal Nath for being overestimated, things could have been even worse for the Congress had he not played the campaign the way he did. निश्चय जी, आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, एक चर्चा ये भी चल रही है कि अगर बीजेपी की जीत को देखते हुए शायद टीएस सिंह देव भी आपकी तरफ आ जाए, ये भी बहुत चर्चा चल रही है, आप इस पे क्या बोलेंगे?
नहीं, मैं इस पे कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा। कोई भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं की मेहनत का परिणाम है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक बड़ी जीत दर्ज कर रही है। तो ये जो आप चर्चा बोल रहे हैं, इसका तो मुझे नहीं संदर्भ समझ में आ रहा, लेकिन इस पे मैं कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा। एक बात जरूर बोलना चाहता हूँ, जितना हम समझते हैं राजनीति में कोई जादू नहीं होता कि 2 महीना पहले आके ये वाला कैंपेन कर दिया, 1 महीना पहले आके, या इस तरीके की कोई भी चीजें नहीं होती। और कोई सरकार जिसने 90 में से 71 सीटें पाई हो और उसकी सारी योजनाएं जो है ग्रास रूट पे जा रही थी, जैसा मैं सुन रहा था आपके विद्वानों को, कि महिलाओं के लिए भी, किसानों के लिए भी, युवाओं के लिए भी, सबके लिए उनकी योजना थी और बहुत वो लोकप्रिय थे। तो फिर कैसे जो है 71 सीटों की 90 में से 71 वो सरकार जो है मुंह के बल गिरती है, औंधे मुंह गिरती है? ऐसा कभी नहीं होता और कोई जादू राजनीति में नहीं होता है। आप जनता जो है बहुत समझदार हो चुकी है, विवेकशील है, आपकी नीयत को जानती है और आपकी योजनाओं के विज्ञापन और आपकी योजनाओं के धरातल पे जो असर है उसके अंतर को जानती है। मूलतः ये बात सही है कि जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का विचार है गरीब की सहूलियत के लिए काम करना, जिसके लिए मोदी जी काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे यहाँ 13 लाख मकान ऐसे थे बरखा जी, जो केंद्र से स्वीकृत होके आए, कच्ची छत वालों के मकान, उसको भूपेश बघेल जी ने वापस कर दिया। हम इनके मकान नहीं बनने देंगे, प्रधानमंत्री का नाम है इसमें। और यहाँ पे आयुष्मान की योजना को 2 वर्षों तक लटकाया गया। यहाँ पे 3 वर्षों तक जो कोरोना का राशन आया सारे गरीब परिवारों के लिए, वो सारे के सारे राशन का घोटाला कर दिया गया, सबको बाजार में जाके भेज दिया गया, गरीबों को राशन नहीं दिया गया कोरोना का। तो ऐसी तमाम बातें हैं और इतने घोटाले हुए हैं। ये वास्तव में जो छत्तीसगढ़ की ग्राउंड रियलिटी को जानता है, जनता 3 साल पहले भी उनकी मानसिकता वैसी हो चुकी थी और 6 महीने बाद ही, मतलब 2018 के विधानसभा चुनाव के बाद 6 महीने बाद जब लोकसभा का चुनाव हुआ था तो एक तरफा हराने का काम कांग्रेस को किया था और वही परिणाम अभी विधानसभा में आया है। इसको थोड़ा सा मुझे ऐसा लगता है,
आपने एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात कही कि जादू नहीं होता चुनाव में, जादू नहीं होता, ये बहुत जरूरी बात है। लेकिन अगर आपको एक फैक्टर आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़े, जैसे एक बड़ा मुद्दा, तो छत्तीसगढ़ में वो क्या था? क्योंकि भूपेश बघेल माने जाते थे कि भाई पॉपुलर है, ऐसे नैरेटिव तो था उनका, तो क्या वो एक मुद्दा था?
देखिए वही कह रहा हूं ना, एक किस्सा गोई नैरेटिव वाली जो बात है और ग्राउंड रियलिटी 2 अलग अलग चीजें हो सकती हैं। एक फैक्टर नहीं है, महिलाओं के अलग इश्यूज थे, महिलाओं को जो परेशानियां थी वो अलग थी, युवाओं की परेशानियां अलग थी, किसानों का हमारे छत्तीसगढ़ में पहली बार रकबा काटा गया था, ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ, बारदाने की और खाद की कालाबाजारी नहीं। और हमारे यहाँ तो वो धुलरा मिट्टी वाला, जिसको ये वर्मी कंपोस्ट बोल के बहुत विज्ञापन करते थे, वो वास्तव में धूल मिट्टी मिला हुआ गोबर 10-10 रुपए किलो में जबरदस्ती किसानों को बेचा जाता था। किसान जो है, छोटे किसान बहुत त्रस्त थे इस सरकार से। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जो काम को देखा 15 सालों में, जहां पे पूरे छत्तीसगढ़ को निर्माण करने का काम अटल जी ने किया था, तो उसको धरातल पे उसकी इमारत बनाने का काम रमन सरकार ने किया था, उसको भी देखा जनता ने और उसको पुनः याद किया। और
आपने बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग पर्सपेक्टिव दिया है, हाउ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, लोकल इश्यूज and sort of brand Modi probably intersect even at the state level. I just want to take final comments now. हमारे पास 10-15 मिनट है। अश्विनी जी, इस पे अगर आप कुछ जोड़ना चाहें, then Professor Ramani, then Dr. Kapila. अश्विनी जी, कुछ जोड़ना चाहेंगे आप?
देखिए, वहां के धरातल की बात अभी हमारे नेता ने किया, लेकिन उसमें देखिए 2-4 बातें और ऐड किया जाएगा। जैसे वहां की जनता के साथ जो छल किया गया, अपने नेताओं के साथ छल किया गया, टी.एस. सिंहदेव साहब के साथ छल किया गया 2.5 साल वाला, वो जनता का क्या होगा जो आदमी अपना नहीं हो सकता है। ये जनता बहुत होशियार है, आप लोगों के माध्यम से, सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से जागरूक जनता है, और आज बताया है, तीनों प्रदेश में बताया है। कांग्रेस का मध्य प्रदेश में देखिए जिस तरीके से शिवराज जी की लाडली बहना, लाडली लक्ष्मी और अब लखपति वाली जो योजनाएं हैं, इन योजनाओं ने बहुत काम किया। भूपेश बघेल साहब अपनी हार उसी दिन स्वीकार कर चुके थे जिस दिन पहले फेज का चुनाव बस्तर में हुआ, क्योंकि उनका घोषणा पत्र जारी होने के बाद वो महिलाओं के लिए फिर दूसरी घोषणाएं लेकर आते हैं। तो वो पहले फेज में वो जान चुके थे कि हम चुनाव हार रहे हैं, हमने कुछ किया नहीं है, अब ये करने का समय आ गया। लेकिन वहां की जनता उनसे तेज निकली, उन्होंने कहा कि तुम लालच में नहीं फंसेंगे, हम आपको वोट के माध्यम से अपना परिणाम बताएंगे, इसलिए किनारे किया गया। वही तीनों प्रदेश में वही हुआ। और आपने पिछली बार तेलंगाना का पूछा था, मैं एक बात कहूंगा, तेलंगाना में भारतीय जनता पार्टी गेन कर रही है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने कभी नहीं कहा कि हम सरकार बनाने के लिए लड़ रहे हैं। वहां 13% वोट हमारा 18 में था, लगभग 13-14% वोट आप दिखा रही हैं। 20% वोट हमारा 19 में हो गया था। तो वोट हमारा कम नहीं हो रहा है, वोट हमारा बढ़ रहा है। एक सीट से अगर हम 9-10 सीटों की तरफ जा रहे हैं, तो सोचिए कि परसेंटेज में कितना ग्रोथ है। और दक्षिण के राज्यों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक मजबूत कदम के रूप में वोट परसेंटेज बढ़ाते हुए एंटर कर रही है।
मैं प्रोफेसर रामनी, I want to ask you, these were 3 states that the Congress won in 2018 and still lost in the Lok Sabha. Now you are in a situation where you have lost them in the assembly, making it even more difficult for the Lok Sabha. Where do you go back to the drawing board? I don't take away the significance of the Telangana victory, but these 3 states, to lose them. Rajasthan, chalo, you can argue that's the historical trend, but the other 2.
Barkha, you will have to look at a very important factor here. You will know that till the first week of October, the face of Mr. Modi was the guiding factor in both Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan elections. Then suddenly, if you remember, a survey was brought out, which clearly said that Congress is winning both Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. And we suddenly find that the Modi's face goes back and the regional leaders' face come up. So the fact is that, the Modi himself did not believe that his face is going to win the elections in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. So he brought Mr. Chavan and Vasundhara Raje ji into the picture there. So the 2 elections, I'm looking at it differently. In 2018, if you look at it the other way, we won the elections and then BJP won in the Lok Sabha. Maybe the same thing could happen now, because the 10 years of Modi's face has been rejected, and only it was Chavan and as well as Vasundhara Raje who was able to win the elections in the end. Second thing.
No, we don't know. We don't know that, sir. We don't know that. I have to disagree with you there.
Just give me a minute, Barkha. So some of the people who have been talking here about the India Alliance, and they say that they don't believe in the India Alliance, we should agree today that, including UP, if I take, there are something like 390 seats. If you start from Punjab, Delhi, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka, and Jharkhand, Bihar, and West Bengal, out of which maybe if you take UP away, there are still 320 seats in which BJP may not be able to get more than 20 to 25 seats. And let us not take away that fact. And 130 seats in South is totally ruled out for them now. And Bengal is totally ruled out for them now. Punjab and Delhi with an alliance between AAP and Congress, it is ruled out for them now. So let's not forget that India alliance is a very, very strong alliance. And the most important thing is the common factor in all the states is Congress. There is no contradiction between Mr. Stalin.
I have to interject you because I don't agree with you that in the end it was Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Vasundhara Raje who won Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Yes, Shivraj was the man of the match. Agreed, but as Pavan Verma was saying earlier, and maybe Aarti will add to that, Vasundhara Raje's marginalization had no impact on the election. And we're seeing images now come in of the proverbial, the laddu that always comes out in these moments, the Madhya Pradesh BJP leaders banding together to celebrate their victory. Shruti, I'm going to hand it over to you for just a couple of minutes to take us through your very differing perspective. You don't actually believe in the North-South divide. You don't actually believe in the India alliance. So where do you see the shape of politics between now and 2024? Let me just give it to you, to Shruti for a couple of minutes.
I think I'll just repeat the same thing. Actually, it'd be very difficult for the Congress because actually what you have to give it to the Congress that it actually put up a spirited campaign. It just didn't hand over the victory to the BJP. This was an absolute, like a real campaign by all its leadership. It also played on the formula of Karnataka, where it left kind of state leadership to do stuff. So it hasn't quite worked out. I mean, Telangana is a different story, but it hasn't really worked out. So they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. What is their identity? Are they going to really actually, especially with what has happened with Owaisi, given that actually the Muslim minority vote is beginning to go back to them as opposed to the local regional party, what is their strategy going to be in, as I said, a place like Uttar Pradesh, where murmurs are saying the same, that actually people are, Muslims are willing to move towards the Congress back. So I think it's really difficult for the Congress. I think the story really now is, as I said, a party state emerging in India with obviously issues in southern India, which is a kind of different kind of frontier and a different kind of politics. But I think the alliance, from my point of view, I think the alliance looks weaker today for all the kind of, putting together of numbers where the BJP will not prevail or will find it difficult in the south. I actually think that, the BJP is going to be feeling quite confident. It's the alliance which is now going to feel quite under pressure, under friction. And above all, what is actually the Congress going to do? Is it actually going to project itself as a national party, or is it going to start sort of thinking about, just again, the make and break, the kind of, putting together people in different states. So I think that's the story. I think it's a tough day for India's opposition, calling Telangana notwithstanding. And I think the regional parties too will now ask for their extra sort of status within the India alliance. They've been pretty much on the back burner in the last 3 months. And those negotiations will tell us what happens. I mean, it just means that does the Congress just become now another regional player? And so how does it kind of create a new national narrative, which is above and beyond the Hindu nationalist narrative or the love and hate narrative, because populism in terms of welfare has been common to both.
आज अभी जो रुझान आ रहे हैं उससे भारतीय जनता पार्टी दोनों प्रदेश में, राजस्थान में और मध्य प्रदेश में प्रचंड बहुमत से जीत रही है, और इसके लिए पूरा जो है श्रेय जाता है हमारे लीडरशिप के साथ साथ हमारे जो कार्यकर्ताओं के साथ साथ जो वहाँ की जनता है जिसने आशीर्वाद दिया, उनको धन्यवाद करना चाहते हैं कि जनता के आशीर्वाद से आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी फिर एक बार प्रचंड बहुमत से जीत रही है। छत्तीसगढ़ में बहुत उलट-पलट चल रहा है, उसको नहीं, कोई उलट-पलट नहीं चल रहा। भारतीय जनता पार्टी छत्तीसगढ़ में जीत रही है, अभी भी रुझान में आगे बढ़ी हुई है, और मुझे पूरा उम्मीद है कि 50 से 51 सीटें भारतीय जनता पार्टी लेकर आएगी, और वहाँ जिस तरह से हमारी स्ट्रैटेजी थी वो काम होती हुई दिख रही है, और भारतीय जनता पार्टी वहाँ भी सरकार बनाएगी। ये सवाल जो है अभी इसका कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं है, पार्टी की लीडरशिप डिसाइड करती है। हम और आप इसके बारे में चिंता नहीं करते, पार्टी की लीडरशिप डिसाइड करती है और वही इसकी घोषणा करती है। धन्यवाद।
I think Barkha's not here, Aarti. I mean, why don't you say something, Aarti? I'd love to hear your comments, because I kind of agree with about the North-South divide.
Yeah, no, so, Shruti, I have a little bit of difference of opinion with you as far as the India alliance is concerned. Okay. Because, actually, if you look at what has happened today, I would have feared for the future of the alliance if the Congress had won Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh, because I think taken with Telangana, it would have definitely made the Congress more arrogant and, kind of made the Congress feel that it has more leverage, better bargaining power, and it should be the pivot of this India alliance, going into the Lok Sabha elections. However, what the defeat has done is it is bound to humble the Congress. When the Congress now, remember, BRS was not part of the India alliance. BRS was outside it, So it was easy for the Congress to take on the BRS. Now, when the Congress sits down to negotiate seat adjustment with parties like Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh, with, RJD and JDU in Bihar, I don't know about Mamata Banerjee, the TMC in West Bengal. I think the Congress is going to have to be much, much humbler, even with Aam Aadmi Party.
So I don't disagree with that.
Much humbler.
I don't disagree with that, but this is precisely where the problem is. So you have a national party sitting with a bunch of regional parties, i.e. the Congress. So that's my issue. The issue is that if India will not go bipolar at this rate, and the alliance can now only happen at the cost of the Congress in terms of
That's right. So, absolutely.
And that's
absolutely.
not
absolutely. But
that's for the Congress. Let me just say, my only footnote to this is it is also problematic for the same reason, as I said, with what has happened with BRS, but also with the Owaisi's party. So the Congress is able to break through these regional, as it were, fiefdoms and move in. And so therefore, it has an identity crisis. It's not, if you were a canny congressperson, you would actually walk out of the alliance and pitch for 2029 as the real story. I know it won't happen, but because it's about
it cannot happen, Shruti. It cannot happen because 2029 is 5 years away.
No, I get it, but if you look at it historically.
Many things can change in India if the BJP comes back for a third term.
I get all that, but I'm just saying, look at what has happened historically. Look at what has happened historically. Congress has been losing since 1989 to regional forces. To now no, I'm sure that's not going to happen, but they are going to stick together. My point is that what we are actually seeing is the emergence of a party state in India. Because Congress is now really pushed in a corner. It really is.
But Shruti, please understand that we have moved into a completely different political paradigm with the BJP.
No, I get that. I share that.
If the BJP comes back to power for a third term,
which
you will see, and it looks like it will, you will see a lot of things changing.
They've already changed, Aarti.
And they will change even further. You could even see a rewriting of the constitution.
But can I come in?
I understand. I get all that.
In which case, the manner in which we conduct elections will change completely. I don't think anybody can think ahead, can wait for 2029.
You're back. You're back.
Because I was back for a while. I was listening very riveted to both of you. I've been back for a while. My question to Shruti is somewhat similar to Aarti's, right? Of course, it's at the cost of the Congress, but does the Congress have a choice?
No, but I don't know. This is where I don't know. What is the depth of their stakeholders? What is the depth of their factionalism? What is the, and what is their kind of strategy going to be? I'm not saying this is the end of the alliance. In fact, as you said, they've just called a meeting. They're going to kind of try and work it out. That's, I'm not trying to say that, but I think it poses a real existential threat is what I'm saying to the Congress. Because you have, as it were, defeated a regional party. You have, also pushed back against Owaisi. These are the big stories, and these are the kinds of contests you're going to face in Uttar Pradesh, in Orissa, in other states. So, your allies are actually they're like frenemies.
I think it's back to that friend is, what is it?
No, Barkha, please. And I said this earlier, I will repeat it again. The Congress in Telangana still had roots. Dormant, but it still had roots. In UP, it does not. Its vote share has gone down to 2%. In the last election. What
but I'm just saying that you're not going to.
It cannot even take on the Samajwadi Party. Forget about the BJP.
No, but I'm just saying if you're not going to make a start,
Samajwadi Party will have to really sink for the Congress to have a revival, and that's
I'm
a
not saying it's a
long time
revival,
away.
but I mean,
Similarly in Bihar.
I just want to make a different point. That I mean, the point is that yes, they were going to have to start from not just ground zero, but a minus story because
that's right. Absolutely.
But this is an open moment in India's future of small parties because the OBC parties in India are saturated. They are going through, as it were, a generational shift. We don't know how that is going, which is why the BJP has moved so aggressively into the OBC world, but also into the Dalit world. So the Congress you cannot now play by what happened in 1990. Even the BJP is not playing by what happened in 1990. So I think I think it's a real problem for the Congress. It's
I'll take
the way Aarti is positioning it that yes, there's an ideological fight and everyone must come together against Hindutva. At one level, yes, that is exactly what the alliance has done. But at a deeper level, in terms of political fortunes of each parties, it poses real existential questions.
And I think we must make note of. Sorry, I just want to say Manu made the point that if Tamil Nadu hadn't played that kind of Hinduized campaign, the results may have been even worse. He thinks. So that's just something to think about. I think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you short. I just want to play out Smriti Irani and we'll take concluding comments from all of you after that. This is Smriti Irani reacting to the results and then we'll also play Piyush Goyal. Yes, let's take Smriti Irani.
एक मिनट ऊपर नीचे करिए आराम से एक मिनट नीचे करिए यहाँ पर 20 मिनट एक मिनट भाई ऊपर कोई नहीं करेगा मत लगाओ भाई आपका आ गया आराम से ऊपर नहीं यार बिल्कुल ऊपर नहीं मोहन भाई इधर लगा पानी जी आ गया बराबर में रखो यार नीचे रखना यार एक सेकंड ले आइए पकड़ लेते लाइए एवरीबॉडी इज हियर आराम से मैं यहीं आराम से रेडी हाँ जी
मैम 3 राज्यों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी बड़े मार्जिन से जीत रही है। तेलंगाना जरूर आप जो है लूज कर गए, क्या कहेंगे आप?
मैं इतना ही कहूंगी कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी में नरेंद्र मोदी का मैजिक और विशेषता जनता के मध्य में मोदी की गारंटी रंग लाई है। मैं विशेष आभार व्यक्त करती हूं उन नागरिकों का जिन्होंने कांग्रेस के पर्सनल अटैक्स का मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया है। मैं अनुग्रहित हूं हर उस नागरिक का जिसने विकास की गारंटी, मोदी की गारंटी पर अपना भरोसा जताया है। नरेंद्र मोदी ने विषम परिस्थितियों में इस देश का नेतृत्व किया और आज का ये रिजल्ट इस बात का संकेत है कि न सिर्फ मोदी की गारंटी पर भरोसा है, मोदी के नेतृत्व पर भरोसा है, बल्कि अमृत काल का जो नरेंद्र मोदी का संकल्प है, विकसित भारत को बनाने के संकल्प पर भी जनता ने आज मुहर लगाई है।
मैम ईवीएम पे विपक्ष सवाल कर रही है, ईवीएम पर
विपक्ष को ईवीएम पर सवाल करने की बजाय राहुल गांधी और प्रियंका वाड्रा की घटिया राजनीति पर सवाल करना चाहिए। उन्होंने कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ी थी प्रधानमंत्री मोदी पर पर्सनल और बहुत ही निंदनीय अटैक करने की। आज का ये परिणाम अगर मैं अंग्रेजी में कहूं तो गांधी खानदान की जुवेनाइल पॉलिटिक्स के लिए डेथ नेल है।
चलिए इधर
Okay, strong statements there. I just want to hear also Piyush Goyal. I'm not sure if he's ready, but let me recap what Smriti just said there. Death knell for the juvenile politics of the Gandhis, Priyanka और Rahul की घटिया राजनीति की defeat है. Before there are concluding comments to that, also let's listen to Minister Piyush Goyal.
देश के लोगों ने बड़े समझदारी के साथ प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व पर अपना विश्वास जताया है। फिर एक बार देश के लोगों ने प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की गारंटी को ही एक ऐसी गारंटी माना जिस पे वो विश्वास कर सकते हैं, जो अवश्य होगा। मोदी है तो मुमकिन है, ये बात आज देश के हर युवा में, हर किसान में, हर महिला में, हर गरीब में ये बात लोगों के जहन में आ गई है। मोदी है तो मुमकिन है। मोदी की गारंटी यानी जो गारंटी मोदी जी दें वो गारंटीड होगा, ये बात फिर एक बार कायम हुई है। मैं प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को बधाई देना चाहता हूं इस ऐतिहासिक विजय के लिए। स्पष्ट रूप से देश में प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का जो लोगों के प्रति सहनशीलता से, बहुत संवेदनशीलता से और पूरे ईमानदारी से सेवा करने का पिछले 9.5 वर्ष का कार्य रहा है, उसके प्रति फिर एक बार जनता ने अपनी मोहर लगाई है। और ऐसी ऐतिहासिक रिजल्ट के बाद मैं समझता हूं लोकसभा के चुनाव में भी भारत की जनता 2/3 बहुमत से ज़्यादा एनडीए को देने जा रही है। और मेरा विश्वास है भारतीय जनता पार्टी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में पिछली बार से भी अधिक सीटें लेके फिर एक बार एक निर्णायक, एक ईमानदार, सुशासन देने वाली, गरीब कल्याण को और सेवा को अपनी प्राथमिकता मानने वाली प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के 5 प्रण को इस अमृत काल में लागू करके देश को एक विकसित देश, एक समृद्ध देश बनाने वाली सरकार भारत में आने जा रही है।
पीयूष जी, सुबह में कांग्रेस पार्टी जश्न मना रही थी, अभी फिलहाल वो ईवीएम को ब्लेम कर रहे हैं।
देखिए, चुनाव में हार जीत होती है। अगर हारे हैं तो मैं समझता हूं कि कांग्रेस में इतनी समझदारी होती तो एक इज्जत से इस हार को वो स्वीकार करते और शायद लोगों में थोड़ी बहुत सहानुभूति उनको मिल भी जाती। लेकिन एक बैड लूजर की तरह जब वो ईवीएम को आज ब्लेम कर रहे हैं, वो ईवीएम का अपमान नहीं है, वो भारत का अपमान है। भारत की जो इलेक्शन प्रोसेस है, जो कार्यप्रणाली है चुनाव की, भारत की जो लोकतांत्रिक शक्तियां हैं, जो भारत की आज विश्व भर में प्रसिद्धि है, जो आज माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के प्रति पूरे विश्व की आशाएं टिकी हुई हैं, उनका विश्वास है विश्व का कि मोदी जी विश्व की समस्याओं का समाधान करेंगे। भारत आगे चल के विश्व की अर्थव्यवस्था को और मजबूत बनाएगा। ये जो विश्व का विश्वास प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने जीता है, जो उनके कार्यशैली से, उनके काम से आज विश्व में बना है, उसका अपमान करने।
Well, okay. Piyush Goyal there already talking about 2024. Laddus being distributed among BJP leaders in Madhya Pradesh. Let's play those pictures as we take concluding comments. Professor Ramani, you are from the Congress. There's a former colleague of yours, Jyotiraditya Scindia. This has been the big story. The Shivraj Singh Chauhan led win, even though he was not officially declared the leader. Where do you win? Does the Congress need more alliances or fewer alliances? Like, do you decide we're going to build ourselves however many decades it takes, not at the cost of, allying with regional parties, or do you think you need alliances? Professor Ramani, can you hear me?
See,
I can't hear you.
Again,
yeah, there you are.
I'm really sorry to hear the words Ghatiya politics, because I did not want to get into that Ghatiya politics. The world knows, the country knows, the people know that Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah are the people in this country who are known for Ghatiya politics. Because it is not only the BJP, it is along with them, they have the income tax, they have the ED, they have the CBI, and they have everybody doing Ghatiya politics. Otherwise, if it is not Ghatiya politics, I wouldn't have heard the raids by ED and the son of Ashok Gehlot and the president of Rajasthan on Baghel just 2 months before the election. So let us not talk about Ghatiya politics. I don't want to talk about it further also. The Ghatiya politics of dividing these people into two, the Hindutva politics of Ghatiya politics of Modi is well known. So I don't want to comment on that.
Okay,
I would like to come back to some positive aspects. Now, what I have a lot of respect for Madam Gerard, and when she said that, the Congress has not lost, but okay, it is pushed to the background slightly. If you look at the vote differences, percentage differences in both Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, it's just about 3%.
Yeah, we can bring up the vote share. We can bring up the vote share slide, Professor Ramani, but that's the point, that to not be able to convert these into seats. That is exactly the point that is being made, that why does the Congress fail to convert its vote share into seats?
That is precisely what we are going to go back to the drawing board and play. Why just 3% votes was the difference between us and why we lost and why they won. Now, if we can take this into cognizance, the various factors which has resulted in that, the difference is not much. The difference is 3% can be overcome in about 6 months by proper strategy.
I mean, in Madhya Pradesh, it's 9. In Madhya Pradesh, it's 9%. In Rajasthan, it's about 4%. So that's the point, I think, Manu. Before I take
Madhya Pradesh is definitely a concern. I agree with you.
Yes,
But
Rajasthan is
Rajasthan,
close. I was going to say, yeah, Rajasthan. Can we just switch to Rajasthan? Sorry, I was just going to say we've been saying that Gehlot and the Congress in Rajasthan fought harder and better than the Congress in Madhya Pradesh. Can we go to Rajasthan for just a second to see? Can I have the Rajasthan slide?
I don't think so.
One second, sir. I need my producer to put the Rajasthan slide on. Please, I need those slides to rotate. Professor Ramani, if you can complete your point. I'm saying vote share is no solace in a first past the post system, right? It's not a solace. You have to convert into seats.
I agree. But first past the post system is different. When I say that, the vote share makes a difference. If the difference is not much, and with proper planning and strategy, you can easily overcome that overshare. Number one. Okay. And number two, again, I'm coming to the same point that we are still humble. We accept the people's verdict and with all humility. But had we won another state, Madam Jairat, I'm sorry to say that we wouldn't have been arrogant. We would have still been humble only. The total strategy of the Indian alliance today is to ensure that Modi doesn't come back and BJP doesn't come back. In this, there is no question of arrogance in any party, in any of the states.
Let Aarti respond. Sir, I'm sorry, we're well beyond our time, so let Aarti respond quickly, and then Shruti, and then Manu can have the last one. Aarti, quickly. I can't hear Aarti. I'm so sorry. Aarti,
that the BJP is pretty much on course to, retaining its dominance in the Hindi Heartland. But the interesting thing that is happening and is appearing is the peripheries of India are not with the BJP. And it's not just the south. If you look at the east also, it's Naveen Patnaik in Orissa, it's Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal. Tomorrow we'll get the Mizoram results. Let's see what happens in Mizoram because, there are reports that MNF is receding because of its alliance with the BJP, and the shadow of Manipur, hangs very heavily on Mizoram. So the peripheries of India are not with the BJP. So, the BJP's, desire, ambition to replace the Congress as a pan-Indian party, I'm afraid even though they may win the next Lok Sabha election and maybe in government, but its desire to be a pan-Indian party and replace the Congress is still very far away, out of its reach for the moment.
This time it's me who muted myself by mistake. I was saying, Shruti, I'm curious to understand why you do not believe in the North-South differential.
I mean, I do sort of in a manner of speaking believe in it, but I actually think, unlike Aarti, I'm less of an optimist. I actually think it's not about the so-called peripheries in the heartland. I think that this is when you've had a very spirited campaign by the Congress. No money has been spared, it seems. These were big campaigns in these various states, and you had all the leadership in. And it has not resulted in the even 1+ victory. So I actually think India's structurally moving to a one-party domination, and it's going to be incredibly hard for it's one these, as I said, I mean, these regional parties are not what they were 15 years ago. They're also saturated, or they are also weak. They're not in pole position. And, and we have seen that the BJP itself has kind of opened up its wider social coalition in whether, you also now have a Muslim vice president in the party. So I think we're going to see some changes of kind of wider incorporation of India's social structure. And mind you, even the South in the upcoming years by the BJP. So I think it's a really tough time for India's opposition, despite a very spirited campaign, North-South Telangana notwithstanding. I think so because it's not simply about, because the same can be said, the opposite can be said about the alliance. How are you going to get a national consensus without without a Hindi Heartland state. I mean, so it's one thing to say that the BJP is only spread till here, but it's the opposite is also true. That how are you going to rule India without the Hindi Heartland? And I think it's a really tough time. I think it's a really tough time for India's opposition. And I think it's actually quite silly to talk about EVMs and so on. I think that also betrays a kind of lack of ability to think through the real problem. What is the real problem at stake? And I wanted to also, one final thing I wanted to say, that it was also interesting that sitting from afar, you actually saw the BJP in a very cautious mode. We didn't, you didn't see the bluster that normally goes with their campaigns. They left it to a few people to do it. And so I think there's a kind of shift going on in BJP strategy. If you and I can say that there's a north-south divide, I bet you they're thinking about it. So I think states like Maharashtra, that all that's going to now come more forcefully, Orissa. So interesting times, difficult times, but also sadly, maybe, a new consensus party state in India.
Well, it's interesting because, Manu, we have seen, and Shruti, you know this, so we have seen one party domination earlier. This is not the first time that India is going through that phase. And what's interesting also is how regional parties will now respond. We discussed a lot about whether these are Revant Reddy shots, by the way, of him being mobbed there in Telangana. But we've discussed a lot about how the Congress, can the Congress survive? Does it need to ally with the regional parties? Will the growth of regional parties be at the cost of the Congress? But regional parties also know that they have been devoured in many cases by the BJP. That's why Nitish Kumar actually flipped. Look what happened to the Shiv Sena in Maharashtra. The BRS is now irrelevant. What happens to the BRS, right? So these are all questions. Manu, what's your last word before we close today?
There are two takeaways. One is for the BJP, another for the Congress, and I'll begin with the Congress first. Yes, Congress has won in Telangana, but if you look at the vote share differential between the BRS and the Congress, it's not really large. It's less than 3% as of now. Now, add to it a possible alliance of BJP and BRS, and you can see the numbers. And I agree, I concede that in politics, 1 + 1 is often not 2, but neither is it 0. It could be 1.5. So Congress winning in Telangana, which was the only or genuine tri-cornered fight in these elections, it's credible. But then again, think of an alternate view. BJP is not down and out in Telangana. It can still be the kingmaker for Lok Sabha, and it still has some petrol left in the tank for Karnataka. Now coming to what BJP did in the Hindi Heartland, I think one of the things is that BJP did not make any unforced errors which the India Alliance did on the outside. I have to say this, but the statement of eradicating Sanatan, well, I agree, some regional parties have a plank and they are extremely popular in their pocket boroughs because of that. But there will be deleterious impacts of such statements on other states where the population definitely doesn't agree with this kind of view. And Congress did not come out, in a strident manner and distance itself with these things. So Congress basically tried to just, hope and pray. And this is where the problem comes, that when the Hindi Heartland electorate wants to elect an alternative, it has two choices, either caste-based socialist parties, or it has the Congress, about whom most of the population is really not clear as to what do they stand for. Because welfare, BJP also provides. Because you talk about growth and development, well, they are also talking about that. So what's the differentiator here? I think that's the problem for Congress. And BJP, as of now, is not making any unforced errors, so it's sitting pretty.
Well, that's a very interesting sort of analysis, and everybody will have their own. If you have just turned on your phones and you've been enjoying a Sunday brunch somewhere, this is what the big verdict looks like. Can we move these slides? Yes, thank you. The BJP has taken 3 of the 4 states. It has handsomely won in Madhya Pradesh. Shivraj Singh Chauhan is clearly the man of the match. It has also won Rajasthan, and it has also taken Chhattisgarh, and those are the celebration shots That is Shivraj Singh Chauhan's wife. I'm being told by my producer. Those are the women in Madhya Pradesh celebrating, big celebrations. Despite the fact that he was not declared the chief ministerial candidate, he has, from Mamaji, transformed himself into bulldozer Mamaji and clearly earned his place in the BJP hierarchy in such a way that the party will not be able to marginalize him now. In Rajasthan, the marginalization of Vasundhara Raje has proved to be irrelevant. The BJP has taken the state in any case. In Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel despite, can we move along this in Chhattisgarh, the Baghel government has not been able to keep the government despite creating a reasonable buzz around the individual persona of the chief minister and a very low-key contender in the form of Raman Singh. And finally, Telangana, the one place where the Congress can celebrate a resounding sweep by the Congress, but the Congress literally being, I don't know, ousted out, as it were, of the Hindi Heartland. And I was going to say goodbye, but I'm being told there's a very interesting video coming. So I'm waiting for this video. Aarti, do you want to come in for just a last thought before we end? Let's say you were the advisor to Rahul Gandhi and the advisor to Narendra Modi. Wear that hat for 2 minutes. Wear both hats. What would you say to Rahul Gandhi as advisor to Rahul Gandhi, and what would you say to PM Modi? Aarti?
Question to answer off the cuff. What would I say to Rahul Gandhi? I would tell Rahul Gandhi that you need better political advisors because clearly, I mean, I think Mallikarjun Kharge has been a big boon for the Congress, but he's good for the South. I don't know whether he's a good strategist for the North. So he needs some good advice for the North. They need a narrative, and it cannot be a soft Hindutva narrative like Kamal Nath was doing. I'm sorry, you have to position yourself as something different, not as a softer version of a Team A, So I think that would really be my advice to Rahul Gandhi. And as far as the BJP is concerned, I mean, I think the BJP, again, to be, I know that in Karnataka, they're trying to keep their toehold, they regain their foothold in Karnataka by appointing Yediyurappa's son as the state chief. They've got an alliance going with JDS. It's quite possible that in Telangana, they will have some kind of an understanding with BRS because BRS will now be desperate to kind of, regain, some ground in Telangana. I don't know what will happen in Andhra Pradesh. Maybe either with YSR, Congress, or with TDP. I think the BJP will try something. But I think essentially the BJP, to become a pan-Indian party and not just be known as a Hindi Heartland party, it needs to, be a little more accommodative, a little more assimilative. It needs to, move out of that straight-jacketed, monochromistic, Hindutva politics that has, gained it so much dominance in the North, but in the South, clearly their brand of Hindutva is not that acceptable. So, I mean, I think it needs to soften that, that pro-Hindi, pro-North Indian Hindu image that they carry, if they want to expand their footprint in the South. And I think that is really necessary to, become a truly dominant national party.
Okay, these are images of Congress workers pouring milk on posters featuring Rahul, Sonia, and Revanth Reddy. But I think today the metaphorical question for the Congress would be: will it cry over spilt milk, or will it go back to the drawing board? So I'm mixing my metaphors there. I am going to actually say at this point, thank you very much to S.V. Ramani, to Dr. Shruti Kapila, to Aarti Jarat, and to Manu Sharma for so patiently making us understand the numbers. There's a lot to still talk about. There's a lot more coming up on the Mojo story. That's the final look. The BJP sweeping its way victoriously through 3 of those 4 states in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Chhattisgarh, leaving the Congress to celebrate only in Telangana. There'll be reactions coming through the day from all the top leaders, and you will have all of that in special analysis through the day at the Mojo Story. But for now, we'll take a quick break so that we can get some of our depleted voices back, and we'll be back with you very soon. Thank you for watching. Take care. Mojo's Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.